It's Dumb Guy Live, everybody. I don't know what did Murph just throw, and why is your camera so smudged? What's going on over there? And why are you quiet?
True professional here.
This is a good start. Jamie, how are you doing? While Murph figures it out, we can't hear him.
I'm doing great. We've had another busy week of wrestling. I'm excited to get into some stuff. Obviously, Stardom is now in the mix with all the tournaments. The 5 stars underway, so that's a very exciting time for me. And yeah, it's first time that we've all been on in like a couple of weeks. we mentioned before we went live. Me and Murph have been kind of subbing in and out past couple of episodes, but we're all here.
We're back.
So, it's good stuff. Good to be back.
Monty says you're unprofessional, Murph. How does that make you feel?
Tell me something I didn't know.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
I bring back the swagger and ruggedness to pro wrestling podcasting. So
right.
Sometimes you got to be a little unprofessional.
Pro wrestling content creation is the hardest job in the world. I'd have to say. I can't really think of anything more difficult.
Yeah.
Easiest job is probably like doctor or like
engineer,
teacher, engineer.
Yeah, they got it easy, man.
Physicist.
Well, he's struggling.
Yes, where's the orange background?
I like the white.
Bro, listen, this is the best color scheme. Monty, he's a good guy. Graphic design, not his strong suit. Okay, it's not his. I gotta be honest. Do you see the orange highlights that I've added to the names and everything like that? Like, do you see how I've made the branding consistent for this podcast? I'm good at what I do. All right, I'm professional.
Not a big orange guy, but we pull it off well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dragon Master Adam. Shout out.
We got the gang here as always. The three Dumbsketeers.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. As Jamie alluded to earlier, busy time as always in Japanese pro wrestling. It is we got the two probably biggest tournaments of the year in the G1 and the 5-star. Not to mention we got the N1 coming up in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We had
I feel like you're forgetting one.
What's that?
You're forgetting King of Game.
That other really important one that a lot of people
really good, dude.
I know it's been good. I'm talking about we got an audience, Murph. We gotta talk about the important things. TJPW is a thing for sure, definitely. And DDT ran Sumo Hall a couple days ago, right? Before them, it was only Noah and New Japan who had run it all year. In addition to the All Together show, so you can throw All Japan in there a little bit, but. Yeah, it was a great weekend of Japanese professional wrestling, an absolutely great weekend of Japanese professional wrestling, and we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna start with the Stardom 5-star.
I've been on the main roster shows. What are we doing here? Revisionist history.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Yeah, he's been on the Thursday show and stuff like that. Also, I don't like the implication that we are not a main roster show. Yeah, what's that about, Anwar?
No, we're the main roster.
Lab. Yeah, we're the A show.
We're actually the only Puro podcast in the world. So
yeah,
it's true. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you guys should share the link to the pod and everything like that. We want as many people to watch as we can. Yeah,
I think all that stuff. Fuck.
There he
is
again.
You freak out like you didn't just oh sorry. You're like.
My annoying NFL draft text tone, just gets in the way.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's start. Stardom 5-star.
Wrestle Pierce start.
What Wrestle Pierce Starto. Where was this show, Jamie? Do you remember what building was this? Ota Ward? Where was this?
Oda. I feel like it might be. I'm never the best at remembering venues, to be honest. I just kind of, I just watch the show. I don't,
Yeah.
I feel like
okay. Well, let's get into it then. Ota Ward. We'll just assume it was that. All right.
Yeah.
There were 10 block matches on this show. Every single wrestler in the 5-star had a block match on this show, and we had a couple cool announcements and a couple cool angles as well, in addition to a pretty devastating injury in the main event. But let's just go through it match by match. We'll start with Micah beating Hanan via a Michinoku driver. This was a super short match, very dominant for Micah.
Quick and easy.
Yeah, this is all it really needs to be. Some nice judo throws and stuff. They obviously both have that judo background, but establishes Micah as dominant from the
Micah not being paid by the hour, and Hanan has a lot of potential. She's not there yet, but this isn't her time yet. But her time will come soon.
Mm-hmm.
There's an announcement after this match for a random partner tag tournament where people voted on the partnerships. I have the full list. There's some really fun teams in here. Mayu Iwatani and Saki Kashima. So bringing back stars. Utami and Micah, they've been rivals for years at this point, but they've teamed in the generation battles, right? Nanai and Ruaka. Ruaka looks like a mini version of Nanai, right? Ooh. Natsupoi and Ano, they're stablemates, but they're kind of frenemies. Hazuki and Natsuko Tora, they've been rivals for a long time. Momo Watanabe and Momo Kogo. We got Momos teaming together.
I voted for that.
So go ahead.
I voted for that one in the email thing.
I'm glad it happened for you.
That's what I want.
We had Mirai and Mai Sakurai. They were two. Were they ever actually stablemates? Maybe very briefly. I want to say for like a month.
Yeah, it would have been very short. Mirai didn't stick around for very long.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Mariah May and Hanan, like that's just a goofy like dynamic there. This one won't happen, unfortunately. It'll be interesting to see what they do instead. But Saya Kamitani and Mina Shirakawa would have been a great team.
They have announced the replacement for Saya Kamitani. It's Tam Nakano.
Oh, really? So that's pretty funny.
Yeah. She was weirdly absent from this tournament, so I don't know whether she was meant to like
Tam Nakano and Mina Shirakawa, two people who've never teamed before.
That's good. That's really good. We have the sisters Rina and Hina, who of course have gone in wildly different paths with their stables and characters. Azumi and Starlight Kid, they literally are like when you're watching on Stardom World and the intro happens and it says eternal rivals. It's Azumi and Starlight Kid who are on the screen, and then Julia and Suzuki Ice Ribbon vibes. Two people who hate each other but have a bit of begrudging respect there too. So super fun. I love it when companies do stuff like this a little bit outside the box.
Yeah, it's very fun. Who do you have any early predictions for who might be winning that tournament? It's a tough one to go because it's not like
Tam Nakano and Shirakawa.
Yeah, I mean Tam and Mina seems pretty strong. Julia and Suzu seems pretty strong.
That's what I was going to say. Julia. And
Suzu. I'm probably going to be backing. I might be backing Utami and Micah. That might be my team in this tournament that I'll be supporting. But yeah, this is a super fun tournament. Do the winners like get a tag title match, or is it just like a thing they're doing?
They haven't mentioned, but I would assume so. I would assume that they'll set that up. Okay,
awesome. So that's a lot of fun. We had Mariah May beating Azumi via Tombstone Pile Driver. It was pretty simple. Again, it's kind of a short match, but you knew Mariah May was going to get a win in her first 5-star GP match.
It overachieved for me.
Nothing too much to add on that one. Just nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Mariah May in like a main event spot in a singles. I think she's got a lot of potential, but I haven't really seen it locked in, translate into like a really great match yet. So I'm looking forward to her getting that shot.
I wish she was the next challenger for Julia instead of you. I would have wanted it to be Julia versus Mariah May personally.
Well, it was weird because she had talked about wanting to challenge Mayu for the IWGP title for a while, but that's obviously on the back burner at this point. We'll get into that later. Natsuko Tora beat Ami Saray via Ami Saraya. Could you imagine? Via Senton Atomico. Yeah, again, we were talking about this before the show. Anytime you have sort of a heel who cheats a lot to win, you always give them a win on the first night to establish them. I'm a big Saray fan, so I'm not a huge fan of this result, but I kind of get it at least.
Yeah, it makes sense in terms of booking to put your big top heel over strong, but definitely probably the weakest match on this card for me.
Yeah, I thought this stunk, but I mean the rest of the show is really good, so it was fine. But this was a Tokyo Joshi Pro quality match. This isn't Stardom big league quality.
That's below bar.
Couple super chats here. We have Regal, $1.99. Parker, my hunky funk hot sausage, you. Well, thank you, Regal. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. You're my hunky funk hot sausage.
I'm
too.
glad he's back. I've been missing
Yeah,
him.
Regal's good. Regal's
Good to
good.
see him.
And then we have Homer, author of the Odyssey and the Iliad. Big ups to the homegirl Megan Bain. She's both a speaker of words and a doer of deeds. Okay, she's gonna surprise you all. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
He seems
Homer.
very
We'll-
impressive.
Yeah, we'll get into what's her nickname? The Meg. What is it?
Megasis.
Megasis.
The Megasis. Cool. Yeah, we'll get into her a little bit later. Thank you, Homer. We appreciate the super chat. Again, if you want, just a reminder, if anybody's watching, if you want your comment read, you have a question for us, anything like that, you just want to say some random ass shit like Regal does, send us a super chat. We will literally always read it. It's great. So, as a train goes off, that's really convenient. Natsupoi beat Starlight Kid. She rolled her up, got a cradle, got the win. This was nonstop action, hard-hitting, fast-paced throughout. Only like 7 minutes, so still pretty short. But I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I thought this was fun. Obviously, these two have really great chemistry, but I do think they've definitely got some better matches in them. And like you said, it was pretty short, so it wasn't like a more prolonged. The type of thing you see in like maybe a high-speed title match, probably get a better quality. But I do think there were quite a few matches I preferred on the card, but still fun stuff and a nice start for both of them. I really like the new Starlight Kid mask thing. I think that's a cool look.
See, I think it looks so bad. I don't know about you. I think it looks really bad. I feel bad because she's got such a cool look, and she's obviously trying something new. Like, she's had this same mask ever since she joined at a time. It's really just a reskin of the same mask she's had her entire career. But I don't know, the hair poking out. It looks like, not to rag on TJPW too much, but it looks like fucking Kaya Torabami. And it's like, and she's such a fucking jobber that I'm like, ugh. So I don't know. It's maybe it'll grow. I'm sure it'll grow on me. I'm not like a gear person. I don't really care that much, but yeah.
This is the kind of matches I watch Stardom for. I love the high speed. I love Natsupoi's my favorite Stardom wrestler. So this is a good piece of business.
We had Utami Hayashishita beating Mina Shirakawa via a modified gut wrench power bomb. I think this was a new finisher. Am I mistaken? Like, this was a new finish?
Yeah, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's like a nod to Shayna Baszler, right? I think that was mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I missed that comment, so that's good insight. This is really good. Condensed all the big stuff into a shortened package. Really nice near falls at the end. Just a really good match in the 5-star.
Yeah, nice return to Japan. And they said return to form as if she's been like off form.
Yeah,
she told me how she said, but just a good return to Japan. And I know you just mentioned that you're not like a big gear person, but I do think it was interesting to know that she's looking like red belt Rei Utami again with the long hair and the gear. I think that was a very that was a very deliberate choice from her. She's obviously a big favorite. Although I will say, as we'll get into something a little bit later in the Stardom talk, my prediction may have slightly changed in the 5-star. So I'm not fully behind Utami at the moment anymore. But yeah, I thought it was a good match, and obviously Mina Shirakawa continues to be keep improving and getting better. So I'm looking forward to both of these in the 5-star.
Utami, she returned to the big leagues of Stardom after being on the little league of AEW Collision, so I'm really happy that Utami's back. I think she's one of the best in the world. And, I think Mina has gotten a lot better. And since I've watched Stardom regularly she's gotten so much better, like inconceivably better. So no, this was a great match, and a great match of so many great matches on this card.
A couple more super chats. This is crazy. $1.99 from Ken Chang. Out of you, who would sit in the Bud Matthews chair?
Parker.
Well, I mean, all right. Yep. You know what? I would sit in the Bud Matthews chair. You're right, Murph. You got it, dude. I volunteer. Dang it, y'all! You got me. I'm in the Bud Matthews chair.
Think that one through.
Actually, no one on this podcast. We're all alpha males. That's more of a
right. Yeah, I'm not a beta cuck, like some people are. But no, that's mean to Buddy Murphy. I appreciate Buddy Matthews. I appreciated him listening to the dumb guy chat the other night, though. That was nice. So yeah. All right. We also have a 5. Help me out, Jamie. What is it? Pounds or euros?
£5.
Okay, we have £5. Yeah, Gate. All right. Well, I didn't really appreciate your tone there, but we have a 5. We have £5 super chat here from Darren. I enjoyed the rant by Murph on AEW Women's Wrestling on Ibu Space on Twitter. I agree with you on Britt. I got to talk to Britt and Jamie in Manchester too.
That's awesome, Darren. Thank you for listening to that space. I really was trying to talk. I was trying to like talk from the heart on that, and I'm happy that other people agreed. And thank you, Darren. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad that we don't have to talk AEW women's wrestling on this podcast. It's really boring to me. Okay, Momo Watanabe beat Mirai. Maybe a bit of an upset here via the peach bomb. She beat her clean. Another really good match. Momo's kind of been de-emphasized over the last year or so. She hasn't been, featured that highly. So to get a win over the current white belt champion, obviously a big deal. I really hope we get a title match out of this.
Yeah, same, and I'm pretty sure we will. There's another case similar to like Natsuko, where she's like a kind of a big heel on the kind of the G1, the G1, the 5-star lineup, and they want to establish it with a big win to start off. And you're not going to get too many bigger wins than pinning the actual white belt champion right now. And I thought it was pretty solid. Obviously, we've all been critical of Mirai since he's been in Stardom, but I enjoyed this one for what it was. And I'm a big Momo fan, so that helped a lot. Yeah,
this is sorry to cut you off, but just really quick. This is just the format that works best for Mirai. Like short matches, not a long time limit. You just get in there and do your stuff. Like some of there are portions of high profile Mirai matches that I'm like, this is so boring. But you can't be like that in the 5-star. It's 15-minute time limit. So yeah, I like this format for her.
I'm very happy that Momo Watanabe doesn't have to miss extended time due to back surgery, because it was a hell of a carry job in this match. Momo was great as always. I'm a big Momo fan. I've fought the Momo allegations of all these sorts for years now, but big Momo fan. I think Mirai's dog shit. I like it might be one of the most baffling things, her being the white belt champion. I'll say David Finlay. He's not him, but like. David Finlay looks like prime Kobashi compared to fucking Mirai. So I mean, thank you Momo Watanabe for winning. And I don't know what Mirai has on Rossy Ogawa, but we need to release that blackmail quick because this Stardom shit was great, but we got bench players acting like starters.
I think she's been pretty good over the last month or so, but obviously it's like. It's weird because she's almost certainly going to have a really good tournament just because she's having so many matches with so many great wrestlers, and the format is built for her to do well, and she's going to be featured because she's the white belt champion. But it's also like I don't know if that's going to convince me that she's made it. You know what I mean? Because you would expect practically anybody on the roster to have a great tournament. You know what I mean? In these circumstances, so it might be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But regardless, I thought she had a really good performance.
It would remind me that like the 3 games where Cam Thomas had like 40 points because he was playing like every minute on the floor. I mean, like when you're put in a position like that, you better succeed, but it doesn't make you a good player. I mean, let's be real.
This was incredible. Shuri defeated Suzu Suzuki. She hit the Shusakai, and this match was unbelievable. This was
I got a hot take.
So good. Yes.
This was my women's match of the year.
Ooh. I love it.
Until today, it was Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania. But when I watched this today, I was going pretty crazy for it. I'm a big Suzu Suzuki fan, have been since she was the Prominence started. When Prominence first started, I started to watch Suzu Suzuki, and I really liked her a lot. And Syuri's amazing. I mean, she's just like at the top of her game. So this match might have been my favorite women's match of the year. I was a big fan. And I'll have to rewatch it come awards time, but I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I love this match too. It's no surprise. It was just like all action from the start, like straight away. Suzu hits the tequila shot like instantly, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Gets a nice near fall, and from there it was like all go. And yeah, just super intense. And I mean, you knew what you were getting with these two. Obviously, Shuri is like arguably one of like the best women's wrestler in the world. There's a few I've mentioned it before. There's a few in Stardom that are kind of like debatable, that are kind of all up there, but Shuri's absolutely one of them. And then Suzu as well, who we talk about as like a young prospect, but she's already like she's there. she's like she just needs the kind of like the right push behind it, and then she's ready, and she proved that again here. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what she can do. I think she is now maybe a favorite for her block with Saya being out. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do, and a nice big win for Shuri.
In a space the other day, I was talking about how my like fandom and appreciation of Shuri has been kind of inverse of a lot of people. She had she sort of really established herself in a lot of Western fans' eyes in 2021 after the Utami match, and that I knew she was good, but she was in a tag team with Julia, right? And I thought Julia was the highlight there, and she had a good 5-star, but a lot of people had a good 5-star that year. So a lot of people said that she was like the women's wrestler of the year that year. I didn't really think so for 2021. I thought Utami kind of was well ahead of her. And then last year, she obviously wins the title right before the new year. She holds it all year, and I thought she was great. I thought she had an incredible reign, like literally as good as the Utami reign. And weirdly, a lot of people were kind of low on it at points. And I last year did way more for my love and appreciation of Shuri as a wrestler than the previous year did. And now, I mean, she is, in terms of women's wrestlers in the world, maybe not in a main event spot, because I think I might have this slot go to Julia if we're talking like a big show main event. But if you're just looking to throw any woman out there and go wrestle, no matter what position on the card, no matter what the context is, and you just want them to have a great wrestling match, I think that Shuri is number one for me. She is so unbelievably good. She's just been de-emphasized because she's not the champ anymore. She just spent a year as champ, but she is so fucking good. Like, she's better than ever, in my opinion, which is saying something, because she's been really good for a really long time.
One of my takes that aged very badly, one of the many, was during 2020, I wanted Shuri to be brought in to AEW to be Hikaru Shida's partner for that fucking cursed tournament.
I reviewed that for F4W.
Thank God they didn't, because she ended up having a great year and she wasn't in that godsend of a tournament. Terrible. Like, God, Jesus Christ, that tournament was bad. But no, she's great. I mean, she was a UFC jobber, and now she's one of the best in Stardom. What a rise. But I mean, Shuri's, I love Shuri. I was gonna say Shuri's the man, but Shuri's the best.
And she is the man. They did crazy shit in this match. Multiple bumps to the outside, a German to the floor, exploder on the ramp, the stiff kicks to the head, not just like not just like a normal like buzzsaw or whatever, but like a stiff ass kick to the head. It was just great. It was only at like 11 minutes too, but it was nonstop, beating the shit out of each other. Like, this was more of a G1 match than I would say pretty much any of the G1 matches we've gotten, the actual G1 matches we've gotten this year.
This was 11 minutes of just like great.
Yeah.
Like, there was no downtime.
Just fantastic.
All killer, no filler, I'd say.
Also, going on what you were saying there, Jamie, about how this block is a little more open. I predicted Shuri was going to win this block, and now it's becoming looking quite apparent. Maybe I had a little something to do with what happened on
Rossi, if you're watching this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll get into my new pick for the 5-star, but I'm still leaning towards Suzu, man. I don't know. I'm feeling a Suzu.
That means she's going to have to beat Shuri in points, because Shuri's got the tiebreaker over her. So,
well, yeah, I don't know.
All right, that's all right. We'll get into that after we talk about the main event here. Also, really quickly, we have a couple super chats. God, we have quite a few. You guys are doing great on the super chats today. Thank you all so much. $2 super chat. best and worst case scenario G1 winner for y'all. I'm gonna put a pin in this. We're gonna come to this when we
G1
get to the
stuff we'll come
G1.
back to.
If if you're still watching and we don't get to it, throw a message in the chat. I monitor this chat pretty closely, and I'll make sure we remember it. All right, thank you so much. We also have IDEK, $5 Canadian. MVP of the G1 so far. Also, if Saya is injured, then I am too. Same thing. We're going to give our current MVPs when we get to New Japan. I know you're such a big Saya fan. I feel so bad for you. I am too. I was very sad when I found out what had happened. It seemed like this was going to be maybe her year. You know what I mean? But it, there's all. I mean, she is young. She is younger than me, so they can do stuff with her. People forget she's only been like a pushed wrestler for like a little over 2 years. She's got plenty of career ahead of her, so that's great. We have a $10 super chat from he's got the big bucks now. Custodian BPJ. We got to have a serious discussion on how AEW develops talent once I get to the top in WWE. Number 1 merch sales, number 1 ticket mover, main event on Level Up. Once I dethrone Roman, I'll stop by and do a pod with you, friends. See, that's why we love the Custodian BPJ. He never forgets where he came from.
Custodian he's BPJ, remember when he's main event in Manias.
Get ready to speak hip toss class, buddy, and
get ready to speak hard cam.
And also, Jesus Ferreira is him. So also remember
that. I love Custodian BPJ, one of our most loyal listeners.
We love him.
We appreciate you so much. Lamora, also an extremely loyal Dumb Guy Live viewer. $5 super chat. Hope you guys are doing well. Any thoughts on Rossi's tweet following the pay-per-view criticizing the outside brawling or spots from the show? Jamie, do you know what he was referring to?
I did not see this. I have not seen.
Okay, yeah. So we haven't seen this. So if people are watching and they know kind of what happened, just throw a little rundown in the chat, and we'll kind of react to that. Yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lamora. We appreciate it. In the meantime, let's continue with this show. We had another great match here. Mayu Iwatani beat Hazuki, 2 stablemates wrestling via the Dragon Suplex Bridge. I thought this was another awesome match. Really just kind of a notch below the Suzu Shuri match, which is saying something, because that match was unbelievable. Hazuki was great here. Great moment partway through. Hazuki's just like laying in ground and pound to a prone Mayu. She landed the 3 topes. Like it was all getting all the offense in for her. Mayu ends up putting her away with the Dragon Suplex.
Yeah, I thought this was really fun. Obviously, Mayu's like one of the best of all time, but Hazuki really over the last even the last couple of years now, even before she stepped away for a little bit, I've been waiting for her to kind of like get that push up to the main card. And every time she gets a big match against like a top level opponent, she always proves that she belongs there. This was no different. I enjoyed it was kind of back and forth a little bit. Mayu kind of took the early portion of the match, then Hazuki kind of came back into it, but by the end Mayu was a bit too much to overcome. But I was a little bit surprised by the results. Obviously Mayu is higher up in terms of the pecking order, but I was kind of wondering if they were going to set up a IWGP title match. Obviously we know what the future is for that belt now, so now I kind of get it, but they were hitting towards that a little bit. But I mean, if she retains, they could still get to it, but I'm not too sure Mayu will. But yeah, just another really great match on this card.
It was great.
So IDEK, all right, sweet Murph, thanks. So Rossi's IDEK says that I'm messing with you, Murph. Says that Rossi's tweet basically translates to the Saya injury was unfortunate, and in-ring wrestling is better than big outside spots. Yeah, I mean, I get like the thing is, Stardom works really, really like this is actually probably my biggest criticism of the actual wrestling product of Stardom is that they have 87 people catching every single dive, and it's kind of like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like that's why I like Hazuki's topes, right? Because a lot of times there's not like 80 people waiting to catch her. She's just like going at the opponent, right? And I mean, this was the 5-star. Everybody, every single person in the top 4 matches, all of those 8 wrestlers tried to do something unique to make them stand out on a big time pay-per-view in a 5-star where they were literally on an even playing field as everybody else. It wasn't like anybody was competing for a bigger title or anything. Like everybody went above and beyond and did stuff that they wouldn't normally do in just like a normal match, right? And Saya's she was going to climb that fucking scaffold and jump off of it. And even though there were 19 people down there to catch her, she she's a fucking goofball, and she decided to stick her arm out to brace the fall instead of letting her body take the impact, and that's kind of what happens. So yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say I have too many like criticisms of the, I enjoyed the kind of brawl into the outside. I would say the only thing I'd point out, and it's not really a criticism, it's just kind of something I noticed in kind of like every big time Stardom match, they fucking love brawling up to the ramp, like what yeah, they love it. And maybe that's part of his criticism. Maybe he kind of like wants them to keep it into the ring a little bit more. But I mean, I can understand where he's coming from. When you get an injury like that, you kind of like, but I don't think it's anything too serious. It's just a freak accident, and these things happen when you try crazy, dives from high places like that. It's gonna happen every now and again.
Yep. And I wonder if he's just doing like kayfabe, right? Like just do it, maybe. Just sort of being like, being the commissioner or whatever. Okay. Julia versus Saori Ano went to a time limit draw. Yet another fantastic match. This run of the Suzu match to here was really, I mean, pretty much as good as any 3-match stretch you'll see all year. Julia and Ano have a ton of history. They wrestled each other this very weekend 4 years ago for the Actress Girls Championship. That was a completely different era. Julia was an ice ribbon mid-carder at the time, and now she's essentially on top of the women's wrestling world. But this was great too. I mean, insane spots early on. Saori dumped Julia off the ramp with a fisherman's buster into the crowd. She busted herself open on it, by the way. So she's bleeding all over her right ear, like kind of on her temple a little bit. Julia hit the glorious driver at the very end, but wasn't able to cover in time, leading to the time limit draw. But this was violent. These two hate each other. Julia, more than any other wrestler, is able to just get that hatred and emotion out of other wrestlers. And once again, I think this was a lot of people's most anticipated match on the first night. And I think it lived up to and even exceeded expectations.
Yeah, absolutely love this match. We kind of put over the Saori and Suzu match huge there. Murph called it his women's match of the year, but I'm not sure whether I think those two are really close, and I may slightly prefer this one, even though we got a draw in the end, which obviously not everyone's a huge fan of. But I believe this was the only one we got on this card, right? Which I mean, for a Rossio 5-star show with 10 matches on it, that's not bad going. And yeah, I mean, that suplex to the outside onto the chairs was brutal. I mean, Julia, everyone kind of hypes up about how she's like, she loves these big outside crazy spots. And as IDK points out as well, that Rossi must have hated this match if he's complaining about the outside brawling. But I thought Saori Ano absolutely stepped up and kind of like equaled her on that part in terms of like the kind of wild spots and stuff. And then there's obviously the power driver through the table from Julia, getting back at her, and just the finish. So I love the finish. The kind of Julia finally has her beat, and then it's just too late. I think that's a great way to use the draw, because obviously sometimes it gets a little bit overused. But as a first one goes, I think that was a really great use of it.
Murph,
I'm not a big draw guy. It's not my favorite kind of wrestling. But it was as good as a draw could get. 15-minute time limit, I don't love that, but I understand that's how it goes. Like I don't like the 20-minute time limit. If it's gonna be a draw, I want it to like build like a lot more. But no, it was as good as that match could have been. This was probably how I describe it.
Main event was obviously cut short, put a bit of a damper on the proceedings, but obviously Tam beat Saya via referee stoppage here. Started out pretty cool. Tam jumped off some staging at the top of the ramp. Saya hit a double stomp counter on the ramp. I thought both of those spots were really nice. And then they about 7 minutes in, they get to ringside and Saya climbs the scaffolding. She gets pretty high up there, jumps off of it, and just unfortunately lands awkwardly and it's a nasty injury, dislocated elbow, including like ligament damage. That's pretty rough. That's tough. So unfortunately, her tournament is done, which is compounded by the fact that a lot of people thought that not only might she win her own block, but she might win the whole thing. So pretty disappointing. Obviously, all of her matches will be forfeit from here on out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder, they haven't announced anything. I do wonder whether there'll be like a replacement of sorts, or whether it will just be a kind of points forfeit. I believe last year, if I remember correctly, obviously it was a bigger field, but I believe Tekla got injured and they subbed in Momo Kogo or someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they, I mean, there's a few still notable names that didn't make it. So maybe like a Koguma or even a Tekla getting back in, which would be nice because she missed out last year. But we'll see. But yeah, just a real shame, kind of, because obviously we know these two have great chemistry. We've seen before in like the white belt matches and stuff like that. And obviously in that main event position, this was the one that a lot of people were really looking forward to.
Yeah,
and I was enjoying the early stages. It was another one of the kind of wild, crazy spots on the outside. But yeah, just a real shame. And obviously, hopefully, Saya's doing well. And I'm not too sure what the kind of time frame is for recovery, but she's out for the whole 5-star, and she's going to miss the tag league, the tag kind of random team thing that we mentioned earlier. So obviously that's going to be a couple of months there. So
it's a shame.
But yeah, we'll see how that shapes up. But
she should be gone for a long. It should be.
What was the injury? Like, what was the diagnosis?
Dislocated elbow plus like ligament damage. It's probably we're looking probably 4 months at like the very minimum.
It's four to 6.
Yeah. So this is like the nice thing about wrestling is you have a shelf life. Like you can extend that through various means. You don't have to come back as soon as you're like 80% of the way there. You can rest up, heal up. And that's also the nice thing about having an insanely deep roster too.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So yeah,
she's not like on a company where it's her and like she's the one they have to like lean on to draw. I mean, they have a lot of big stars, so I think it's going to end up being fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Jamie.
Just the only thing I have is that when she comes back, which I presume maybe it could even be into next year now, I think she becomes a favorite for next year's 5-star, and that's very early prediction. Cool. But I think she's going to be a big favorite for heading into that.
I think so too. I'm with you. Okay, so we had some happenings after this match. This also, like, obviously the stoppage put some, like, you don't anticipate this happening in the wake of a legit injury. So Megan Bain, who has the Megasis, she there's this woman comes out. She's probably 5'10", right? She's well built.
This is my kind of guy.
She comes out. She attacks Tam Nakano. It's revealed that she's Megan Bain. I didn't recognize her at first. I've seen her on Dark, and I want to say like maybe once or twice on Defy or maybe Wrestling Open or something like that. But
she's a big beyond wrestler. That's like her stopping ground.
Yeah. She ran out and attacked Tam before challenging for the red belt. Utami came out as well and essentially told the crowd who Megan Bain was, but Bain isn't like a Queen's Quest member or something like that. And then Utami herself made a challenge for Mayu for the IWGP belt. So yeah, Saya's injury put a damper on the segment, especially because Bain is pretty much like she's a complete no-name, unknown quantity. But they presented her really well, I thought.
Bain was starting to get a little bit of fire on Dark. Like she was starting to win some matches, and I in my head canon, I assume she was being built up as a TBS title challenger back in the day because, AEW was having extras be in her entrance, her like and all of that. But no, she's one of the best of the indie women's wrestlers. I mean, we've seen the worst in Tokyo Joshi Pro, but I think Megan Bain's one of the best. I really like Megan, and I think that she's one of those people that she has everything but the wrestling down, and if she can get the wrestling down, she's the total package. So I mean that. I think she has the look, she has the entrance, she has the character. So I think this was a great move from Stardom. It's Rossi always, for the most part, had a pretty good eye when picking out people for Gaijin. She obviously didn't for some, but for the most part, he did have a good eye. So I think this is going to be a great little experiment. And if she does well against Tam, I think that she could be a Gaijin regular unless she gets picked up from somewhere else.
Yeah, kind of echoing a lot of what Murph said. I've only seen like a very, very brief like handful of matches, so I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how good she is as a wrestler, but she seems pretty solid. And I mean, like you look at kind of Mariah May, she's established herself pretty quickly as kind of like a fan favorite almost, and she's improving rapidly. So if you can get into kind of like a similar form, then that'll be good. And then in terms of like the kind of surprise of it, I had kind of believe for a little while that she may be coming in because I noticed that the English Stardom account followed her a little while.
I think Scott E pointed that out too. Yeah,
it lined up with a few other people who had been brought in, and I wasn't like expecting it to be like attacking Tam and going for a red belt match, and not kind of like on this show, but I thought it was coming at some point soon. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I'll be interested to see where kind of she fits in faction wise, because obviously it was pointed out that she's not Queen's Quest, even though she was there with Utami. She is teaming with Tekla on an upcoming pay-per-view. But that might just be like a case of putting the guys in together and stuff like that. So we'll see where she fits in.
Okay, before we get to just today, they've announced some really big shows for Stardom as well. Quick super chat here, a little detour here from Anwar Starwind, very loyal viewer as well. What were the matches that turned you from a casual to a long-term wrestling fan? For me, like I was a huge CM Punk fan from the very beginning, but when I was like 15 during the summer of Punk when he was in WWE, and he was making all these references to Colt Cabana and stuff like that, and that was definitely got me to watch his his matches with Joe and stuff like that. So that got me into like American indie wrestling, and then Japanese indie wrestling was just the Observer covering New Japan pretty religiously once New Japan World started, and Okada's early reigns and everything like that. That was what got me into Puro, and sort of opened up that gate for me.
For me, I would say that what
TNA
got me
Wrestle
into what? Okay. What I didn't hear you. Sorry. What got me into wrestling as a whole was the Yes Movement. I would say everything after SummerSlam 2013. That's what really got me into wrestling. I mean, I'd watch wrestling with my dad. My dad was a big wrestling fan, so I'd watch wrestling with him. But after that, I mean, it would be the Yes Movement, and then it would be Ibushi and Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was my first New Japan show, and that basically like made me a wrestling fan. So it was Daniel Bryan and Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, in terms of me, my kind of I've mentioned it before. TNA for me in the UK was big. That was big. So I was maybe even more into TNA at very, very early stages. Into
Me too, honestly.
Kind of wrestling fandom, the more so than WWE, which is obviously the kind of like what you point out there. Becoming a casual fan first. I was kind of into like. I think my favorite wrestler for a long, long time was Suicide. I think I had the game, the game, because usually get.
Oh yeah.
They made him like on screen
on the Xbox.
So I was like, oh, this guy fucking sick. So I was loving him. I love James Storm and guys like that. So
TNA indirectly got me into Puro. It was through the Wrestle One.
Yeah,
that's what I said before I took a drink and I had a mouthful of liquid and I couldn't respond.
Wrestle One, the TNA Wrestle One partnership was also huge. Because to me, I remember when they brought in Yasufumi Nakano in 2014 to a show.
So weird.
And I thought fucking Yasufumi Nakano was a big star, and it was like
Yasufumi Nakanoe, the seventh most important heavyweight in Big Japan.
Nakanoe. Yeah. Sorry, I misspoke there.
No, you're good.
But he was Yasu in a match with the Great Muta. It was the Great Muta, Sonata, and Yasu versus Chris Sabin and the Bad Influence.
It's like Takao Omori getting a world title match on like the 6th NWA TNA.
Takao Omori was in the Royal Rumble. Omori, all Japan.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into these Stardom cards that were announced. We have our one, we have two sort of big shows that have become tradition to be right smack dab in the middle of the 5-star. One is a pretty standard pay-per-view with title matches and everything like that, and the other one is more of a specialty show. But it is Tam versus Megan Bayne, and then Mayu versus Utami. That's your double main on that one. Julia defends the strong title against Yu, which is fun. Rose Gold defends the Goddess titles against Natsupoi and Saori. So that's another good one. Saki defends against Koguma for the high speed. There is a 5-star match with Starlight Kid and Tora, and then a long ass gauntlet match with like 10 different teams on it. So I like the card there. I like the card.
Yeah, solid stuff. The Utami and Mayu match is the match that I was gonna talk about in terms of my 5-star prediction, because obviously we kind of talked about Utami as the big favorite there, but in terms of Utami winning the 5-star, I would have then expected her to win the red belt. I believe she's winning the IWGP title, so I don't think she's doing both. I don't think Mayu's getting a single defense in there, unfortunately. So as a result, my new 5-star prediction is Maika.
Wow.
I don't think she'll win her red belt match, but I think it'll elevate her enough to where within the next year she could get there. I don't think she has to win, because the last couple of 5-star winners have won. So I think you could still, well, I wouldn't be mad if Maika won the red belt. I'd very much like it. But so Maika's my new prediction, and that's why I think Suzu's her final opponent.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with Utami Hayashishida. That's my my prediction. Utami is going to win the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Utami as well. I'm going to say she loses here. Maybe their thought is just, we really want to do this Utami Mayu match before Utami ends up winning the red belt, and they're both champs, and you can't really do that match, right? So maybe that's their thought. I'm going to stick with the chalk here, and I'll say it's Utami over Shuri in the finals there. Okay, and then there's also Stardom Midsummer Festival, which is a Legends Appreciation show. We're throwing it back a little bit. Yeah, we got some good stuff. So there's a couple matches here. I mean, it's all kind of just like tags up until the final 3 matches, which are in order: Nanai Takahashi, Momoe Nakanishi, and Jaguar Yokota, who is like still really good. I don't know if you guys have ever have watched her recently, but she can like still go. Versus Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Yu, interestingly enough. Utami Hayashishida, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Kyoko Inoue. That's so random. Versus Dump Matsumoto, Zap T. Like, Zap T is easily the biggest, the deepest pull here out of the Legends. Natsuko Tora and Ruwaka. And then in the main event, this is a wild match. Tam, Natsupoi, and Saori Ano versus Hazuki, Shinobu Kandori, and Takako Inoue. Just legends and legends of Japanese professional women's wrestling, Joshi wrestling, whatever you want to say, all Japan women's stuff. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy card. I don't think anyone really expected it when the press conference announcement was revealed, because we haven't really had anything like this in a pretty long time. We had like the occasional people pop, like Momo Nakanishi has been in and around Stardom every, like, for 1 or 2 shows here this year, but this is like kind of all out. The one other thing I'll point out on this show, and it's kind of more so just like a random talent that's on it, but you being teamed with Oedo Tai is very interesting, because it was Oedo Tai who nominated you for the Julia match for the strong title.
Okay.
So I don't know whether they're playing on something there, whether like, I don't think she's going to be like signed or anything, but they're kind of, they're maneuvering it towards Oedo Tai, which is an interesting one. But yeah, there should be a fun show. Some very interesting matches. There was a lot of discourse when the show was announced, which is, some people weren't.
Yeah, it was really like, it's literally like 2 guys on Joshi Twitter who hate any women's wrestler over 35, and I don't like. Yeah, like, it'll be fine. I don't think Kyoko Inoue is gonna like win the red belt. I think it's gonna be fine. Everybody. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I am too. It should be good. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for Stardom. Should we move on to some G1, folks?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, really quickly, we have a $1.99 super chat from 6. Shout out Dumb Guy Live. Shout out Natsupoi. That's right. Natsupoi did a great job. Oh, before we move on, I do want to talk about very briefly the Stardom matches we look forward to for this upcoming weekend. Hopefully, they're all up on. I will say, Stardom World has been pretty damn consistent with uploads recently. I don't know if you agree with me there, Jamie, but yeah, it's it's looking good. It's looking good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully we see this stuff before we come through with next week's show.
yeah,
So
yeah. Hold on. I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say that it's kind of it's one of my biggest things with a 5-star as well, because obviously we do the match ratings for Wrestle Purists. And my biggest worry is that they're not going to get them out in time, and it's going to
Yeah.
cause a headache. It's like, do we rate them this week, but they haven't last week? Whereas like we couldn't watch them, so I
Right.
don't know. But hopefully they keep up with it.
So on Saturday, it is Julia versus Hanan, Saori Ano versus Mariah May, and Mirai versus Mina Shirakawa. That is that's very white belt-ish. So that could be fun there. And then on Sunday, it is Mirai versus Hanan. Well, it was going to be Saya Kamitani versus Natsuko Tora. That's not happening. But then a great main event here: Suzu Suzuki versus Natsupoi should be excellent. And then I don't think, and I think that's it for Stardom before next week's show. So yeah. We also have a $2.17, very random number, super chat from Matt B. I don't really get it though. Dragon Gate out of business before Mirai's reign ends. Yeah, I don't know about that. That'd be really bad in my opinion. I really hope that doesn't happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Maybe Glate. Maybe.
Yeah. I think Gleat could be gone.
Gleat might be out of business. Gleat might have their swan song at Ryogoku and then say no more. We're out of here. By the way, next week we will be previewing that show. Kota Ibushi in the main event.
Kota Ibushi, 4 great wrestlers and a shitter in a main event. Let's go, baby.
All right, man. Okay, G1. We have, it's been 4 G1 shows since we were last on this pod. So I'm not going to go super in depth. I'll just read out the results and then I'll start to focus on a match if I think it's like genuinely notable. Okay. So this was Wednesday the 19th in Sendai. Sabre beat Yano, Finley beat Nichols, Cobb beat Coughlin, Evil beat Eddie Kingston. Bit of an upset there. Not great use of Eddie in my opinion. Tanahashi beat Shane Haste. Finally, awesome match here. Hinare beat Shingo Takagi with the Streets of Rage. I thought this was the best match of the tournament to that point.
Get your cameras out, guys. Murph was wrong. Hinare is the man.
It's great, right?
I love it.
So I remember I was behind on the G1 and I got a DM from someone saying Hinare is using Meteora now. And my dumbass thought
was it Peps?
Yes, it was. And my dumbass thought he was like doing Meteoras like Masato usually, like I was like Shima. Like I thought I was like, and then I was like, okay. And then I actually find out he's using a Mataora, which is the cool tattoo he has now. Yeah. The tribal tattoo.
Meteora.
Which is good. I was like, why would Hinare be doing Meteoras? Yeah, thank you, Peps. But what's it called? I'm a big fan of Hinare now. He's a beast. He's a hooper. To use Manny. Manny was right. He is a hooper.
Headbutts here were nasty. I love that I love that they've really put Hinare in a position to succeed, putting him in a block with Shingo and Ishii and Eddie, people who are going to wrestle a lot like him and lean into his style that elevates him into being a really exciting wrestler. He's been the breakout star of the tournament for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it, man. I love the new look and especially the Hinare all caps. I love the way they read his name out.
Yeah,
to the hey, nah,
yeah.
He just feels like a big deal. Feels like he's putting it all together. And he's definitely been the breakout star of this tournament. And he's like only a few days removed from getting like spiked hard. By Mikey Nichols. And he's out there shoe headbutting with Shingo. Like this guy, he's fucking lunatic. I love it. So yeah, I'm like we said it after the Nichols match, but I'm like very locked into every Hinare match after that first performance and now this one as well. It's that's what you want to do. Now that's how you get people invested in you in a tournament like this. And he's been a big winner in this tournament.
Biggest win of Hinare's win thus point of his career this point. All right. Naito beat Goto via Destino. Solid match, nothing crazy. And then the main event here, Tama Tonga beat Tomohiro Ishii via the J Driller. I thought this was the second best match in the show. I thought it was really good, hard hitting, back and forth action. It wasn't like blow away. But I like this. I thought it was good.
It was fine.
Yeah, solid stuff.
All right, Friday, we were back to A and B block here. Yoshihashi beat Tongaloa. Gabe Kidd beat Narita. I thought this was pretty good here. Battle of like Shibata pupils, pretty personal, pretty hard hitting, good stuff. Yeah. Okan beat Phantasmo. Owens beat Hikuleo. Osprey beat Kenta via the Stormbreaker.
Not bad. It was actually way better than I expected.
It was great, actually. Lots of shenanigans, like kendo shit. Oh my god, if I could speak. Kendo stick, belt shot, etc. But
best Kenta match in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The actual wrestling here was really good.
There's a real nice striking exchange. It just made me. It's like, hey man, I know it's Osprey, and Osprey gets the absolute best out of people. But if Kenta can, put that kind of, a bit more oomph into his strikes moving forward, then hey man, he might still have a little bit going.
Kaito and Shota went to a draw. Really hot crowd here, continuing the story of Shota and Narita being unable to put away their peers. Good stuff here. Okada beat Taichi via the double arm cradle that he does sometimes. This was an awesome match. I thought it had an incredible closing stretch, and Okada he's as good as ever, which is saying something.
This may have slightly surpassed Shingo and Hari for my match of the tournament thus far. I love this. I think kind of make a comparison to a 5-star match we talked about earlier, similar to Suzu and Shuri. This kicked into high gear like straight away, and I love these. Okada just carrying on his like dickhead form, and Taichi now being like a lovable guy that everyone roots for is great. And his closing stretches, I think Ibu mentioned it today. He's kind of loving his closing stretches, and he's got a bit of it.
He's right.
He's really up there now, man. I'd like to see him there. I really want to see him challenge Osprey for that US title coming up soon.
I think they will, yeah.
Yeah.
In the main event, Sonata beat Yoda via the deadfall rematch of the Dominion main event. I thought this had really nice drama towards the end. It seemed like Tsuji might beat the champ. Obviously didn't happen, but good stuff. This was a good show.
Yeah, I like that match. We talked about obviously when the Dominion match happened. Obviously Tsuji his moveset's crazy, right? But he's still kind of he's putting little bits of it together. When you have a guy like Sonata who's like a perfect base for that offense, so you can make him look good. I think they have really nice chemistry. They work well together. So nice stuff.
On Sunday, I thought this show was pretty rough. Sabre beat Coughlin, Tama beat Nichols, Goto beat Haste in like 3 minutes. This was weird. Eddie beat Hinare. This was a good match. I thought this was the second best match on this show.
Agree.
And I just love how they structured his block to put Hinare's block specifically to put him in there with the people that he's going to have good matches with.
The beast block.
Yeah, it was solid. I still think this was probably the weakest of Hinare's matches so far, but it's very high bar, which is not something we were expecting. But it was good stuff.
He's 3 for 3 thus far. Yeah. Let's see. Naito beat Yano via roll up. Shingo beat Ishii with the pumping bomber. This was the match of the night for me. Exactly what you'd expect. Although, I mean, these two have had like classics against each other, and I didn't think this got to that level, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It was still the nice like hard hitting battle you'd expect, but definitely a tad under their previous matches.
And then in the main event, first Cobb beat Tanahashi, clean win for Jeff Cobb over Tanahashi. And then the main event, David Finlay beat Evil via Oblivion after a Shillelagh shot. So I didn't like 100% hate this because I do think it's entertaining at points, but
100% of my body hated it.
It's just too much. I'm just like tired of the Bullet Club stuff. I'm ready for a new direction. I'm ready for all of Bullet Club to be kind of more like the War Dogs. But I don't know. I get why they'd make this the main event. It's kind of interesting. It's like heel versus heel or whatever, but it's not why I watch New Japan.
Yeah, we got that face off. Remember I mentioned a week or two ago we were going to get that civil war between the War Dogs and House. I was like, it's all coming together, man. But no, I didn't really like the match. The only bit that kind of like made me chuckle a little bit was when they went really over the top with ref bumps, and there was like 3 in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. At that point, it's like, all right.
They know what they're doing. They know that it's silly.
They're
but it doesn't make it good.
self-aware. Yeah, House of
Yeah.
Torture are more comedy than anything else now. They're not
Yeah.
trying to be top heels or anything. So I get it, but it's just not, like I said, it's not why I watch New Japan. I have not been able to watch today's show yet, unfortunately, but I do know that people are raving about, especially the final 2 matches, Sonata and Kaito, and then Okada and Yoshihashi. Some high praise for who was it, for Ospreay and Okan.
And Okan
as
was
well
also
in the
very
opener
good.
here. Yeah.
Mhm.
So this was at Korakuen. Anything you guys want to add?
Sonata
to this show?
Kaito is my favorite match of the G1 so far. I really loved it.
Okay. All right.
I may agree.
Okay. I didn't know it was that good. I'm looking forward to it now. That's good.
It was real nice. It was like what you'd expect with these 2 guys in particular. They get a lot of the Muto cosplay like allegations,
Mhm.
but they kind of like played into it like perfectly. It was the right cut sort of like callback and stuff to Muto and stuff like that. There was I think they have really great chemistry, and it was another one that pushed the time limit very, very close, but we did get a decisive winner, so it was real nice. And then Yoshihashi and Okada, another one where Okada was being like the big the big dickhead on top, and Yoshihashi, it's simple, but it's really effective. It's like the crowd are really rooting for him to defeat Okada, and like it's kind of you want to believe, but it's still Okada. It's very but yeah, it was a great match. It was a much better show than the night we just talked about. Big improvement.
So as it stands right now, Okada is undefeated. Sonata's undefeated. They feel pretty locked in their blocks. It'd be pretty tough for them not to advance. It feels like everything's kind of going as expected. There has yet to be like a crazy, unexpected upset in this tournament yet. Even fewer than you would expect in the G1. So we'll get one of those at some point where we've got some shows coming up here. So with that, actually, how about this? I'm going to open some of the super chats that we wanted to come back to.
Oh yeah.
You guys go into this. I'm going to look at the upcoming schedule, but from bruh, we had best and worst case scenario G1 winner for y'all. Let's keep it within like plausible winners, right?
Yeah.
So not like Hikuleo, right?
Best
Yano
is
not making
Ospreay.
it.
Yeah, Yano.
Best is Ospreay for me. Worst is Dave Finlay.
I would tend to agree, but I don't know. I would agree on Finlay as kind of a plausible worst case scenario. I don't know. I don't know whether Shingo's likely to make it, but I like the idea of him facing Sonata in the Wrestle Kingdom main event with the LIJ kind of stuff there. Because I think a lot of people are predicting Naito, right? Because of the LIJ connections with Sonata. But if I was to pick a LIJ guy to win, I would be picking Shingo. But I probably agree with Mev.
Yeah, we'll make it 3 for 3 for Finlay out of people who it's like plausible. Mine would, my best case scenario is if they do the Okada Kaito booking, that my fantasy booking that I want. I don't think they will do that. Among plausible actual like outcomes, I would probably say like if it's Ospreay, like I just can't think of anybody in the finals who you would put up against Ospreay that I'd be like, I'd rather have that person go in than Ospreay. He's just the best to me. So that's why I'd go for him. And then IDEK, MVP of the G1 so far. Also, if Saya is injured, then I am too. MVP so far. I mean, frankly, Hinare's up there, which is crazy.
Might be
Hinare for me.
For me, it's Okada. I think he's just had it's him or Ospreay. Just on a match-to-match, night-to-night basis, I think they've been the best. Okada did have one kind of mediocre one against Okan on the opening night, but he's been great otherwise, and Ospreay too.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The only other people I kind of throw out is like other mentions, but I would agree more so on the ones you said. Kaito and Shota, I think I've had pretty good runs. But there's a few guys who've had a few decent performances, but I would tend to say Hinare.
You know the Shaq picture where it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you're game. That's the Hinare. Like
that's Hinare. I like it. All right. So this upcoming week, tomorrow, we've got 2 more nights in Tokyo. Tomorrow's at Korakuen. This lineup, let's see, the notable stuff on this show is going to be Eddie versus Ishii, Dave Finlay versus Tamatanga. This is a rematch of a never open weight title match. And Saber Cobb in the main event. Fun one here. This is a rematch of a New Japan TV title here. So
and then
good
the
stuff.
day after is the
day after is at Ota Ward, and
it's
this is it's all about the main event here. We've got Kaito and Gabe Kidd, which I think could be cool.
I think
we've got Taichi and Yoshihashi could be actually pretty good. Sonata versus Ren Narita. That's a little bit of upset alert to me.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But it's all about the main event here. Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay is maybe the biggest match that New Japan can put on with their current roster set up, and it just so happens to be main eventing the biggest venue that they have during the block action. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we've got that to look forward to.
When we got those block announcements, and Okada wasn't in A block with kind of the youngsters that we were all hoping he was going to mix it in with, the one sweetener that we had was like, he's going to wrestle Ospreay in the block.
Yes.
So that was something we were looking forward to. So, I mean, that's always going to be a tremendous match.
We've also got this weekend on Sunday, it's going to be Shingo versus Tama. And then, and I think that'll actually be probably really good. We've also got Sabre versus Shane Hayes, so TMDK. And then in the main event, Tanahashi versus Goto. They tend to have pretty good chemistry. But that's like a classic G1 matchup to me that I feel like I've seen a million times and is always really good. And then Monday, gosh, again, we'll have 5 shows to recap before our next show. Or actually, will we? No, this is Tuesday next week because there's a 31st in July. This is day 11 will be, and this is the final night of not the final night, the second to last night of block action for A and B, and Okada versus Kenta is the main event. We've also got Shota versus Yota Tsuji in this one as well. So good, nice little double main event there. So all right. New Japan, I love it. I love G1 season. It hasn't been a blowaway great G1,
no,
but just everybody listen up. The quarters, the semis, and the finals. That 3-night stop in and I can't remember actually where the quarters are, but the semis and finals are at Sumo Hall. Just get ready, y'all. I mean, we're gonna get the cream of the crop, and it's gonna be some incredible matches.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get on to a little bit of DDT, folks, shall we? Little. Speaking of Sumo Hall, Dramatic Dream Team Pro Wrestling. They had a bit of a time at Sumo Hall this weekend with Wrestle Peter Pan. Historically, would you say this is their biggest show of the year, Murph, or is it like Ultimate Party?
It was Ultimate Party, but I think Wrestle Peter Pan historically.
Yeah, if it's going, if they're going to Sumo Hall, I mean, Ultimate Party was that the one at Korakuen this year?
Ultimate Party in the past has been a big place, big show. So
yeah, I know, but I think, or was it Judgment?
It was Judgment. Judgment was like the 6-hour-long show.
Right. Okay, so we're not going to go through every match. I'm going to go through. If only I do have them in order on my notes here. We're going to go through the final 7. Well, I'm going to briefly go through a few matches, and then we'll really go in depth on the final 4. Sound like a plan, y'all? All right, so Eruption beat Harimau. This was Saki Akai, Yukio Sakaguchi, and Hideki Okatani beating Kazusada Higuchi, Nakamatsu, and Ishida for the DDT 6-man titles. This is a really emotional win for Saki Akai. She had stated that winning these titles again was like one of her final goals in DDT, and there's a ton of history, of course, between Higuchi and Eruption here. This was really good. I know you guys didn't get around to this, but I really do recommend checking this one out. This is like, I mean, Murph, I know you've been a fan of Saki Akai. This is classic her being great in DDT.
I was crushed time. I should get to it.
Yeah. Then after the match, Naomi Yoshimura, who always had great chemistry wrestling against Akai, like essentially congratulated her, and she got pretty emotional. It was really good. This was probably actually my second or third favorite thing on the show. It was a really good segment.
Interesting.
Couple solid matches here. Mao beat Taka Michinoku. This was just a fun match, right? I don't really know the history, frankly, between the two. I should have done a little bit more research, but it was solid. It's rare you get to see Taka featured in 2023, so I always appreciate it. Jun Akiyama and Shigehiro Irie beat Harashima and Yukio Naya. This was Naya's return match after being injured. Irie pinned Yukio Naya, and he actually ended up coming out and challenging for the KOD title after the results of the main event. So let's get into what we all watched here. We had Konosuke Takeshita, which I don't know. Did you guys notice how he was billed? Now he's changed his name. He's not a whatever like Japanese characters it is. It is all caps Konosuke Takeshita on the graphics.
I had
now,
two
which I think
gripes.
is-
First off, number one, I wanted Dawn to be. I wish Dawn made the trailer.
Yeah.
That would've been
Are you
awesome.
gonna say the music?
I wish he had the fucking music.
Yes, I do too. Can you imagine him coming out with that?
When, like,
That
his
drone
old
is like one
DDT
of the
music
10
hit, I was
best
like,
things in
what?
wrestling right now. That music that Don comes out to, it's the best. No, he came out to his normal music. But he
Praying for the
wrestled
old music to hit. I was like waiting for it. Like
he
just,
wrestled Yuki Ueno, former Sauna Club stablemate, and beat him with the Brainbuster, release Brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. This was an awesome match. I mean, you guys saw the star ratings on the Wrestle Purists tweet of the week, right? These two did not hold back against each other. It's clear they really trust each other as wrestlers. Takeshita was dominant. I mean, he was just lariating the shit out of him with some of the it was nasty.
Takeshita's
eventually
really gotten so good, and I think the big match he's going to have in Wembley is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. So yeah, he ended up getting the win with that Brainbuster. After the match, Ueno tried to extend a hand, or actually it was Takeshita who was like trying to extend a hand to Ueno. He was kind of being cocky and heelish about it, sort of like half genuine, but Toy Kojima gets in his way and is like, no, don't do that. So that led to some of the developments later on in the show, which I'll talk about. But yeah, this match was awesome. Anything to add, Jamie-san?
Oh yeah, no, just more of the same. Like I loved it. It was great. I can't remember what I gave it. I was somewhere around 4.5, maybe even higher. But I loved it. I thought it was terrific. It's Takeshita, like Merv said, coming back from AEW into DDT just looks like a totally different beast. And obviously that's partly the presentation and stuff. But he keeps getting better and better. And going back into AEW now again as a big main event player, he's top level, man. I think we're going to get that Kenny match maybe at Wembley, and that's going to be terrific. So yeah, I'm loving everything Takeshi's doing right now.
Matt Cardona beat Tetsuya Endo to win the DDT Universal Championship after a kiss distraction from Steph DeLander allowed Cardona to hit the Rough Rider and get the win. Did you like Endo's hair, Murph?
I love Endo, but I liked Endo's like everything. But
this was garbage. This sucked.
So number one, I don't understand why Steph DeLander's with Cardona.
I don't get it either. I don't really understand it at all.
Sense.
And I like kind of watch GCW, and I still don't get it.
Cardona had his moment as the heel, and now it's just like old. Like
yeah, it's been like 2 years.
It peaked in that shitbox match. It peaked in that like Atlantic City shitbox, and now it's just like, what are we doing here? Oh, can we just get past it? I can't talk. This was awful.
Yeah, I don't have too much about that. I hate it. I mean, his early like heel run was like I said, it was nice, but that moment's passed, and now you've got Steph DeLander in there. I think she's fucking terrible. I mean, she was like tag team with Indy Hartwell, right? And like being the worst of a tag team with Indy.
Yeah,
Hartwell.
the worst in a tag team with Indy Hartwell. Like,
that's not good.
After the match, there was a bit of a silver lining. Maki Ito came on the video board, and she laid down the challenge for this title, but it's not going to be for over 2 months from now. So there's going to be at least 2 more months of Cardona being DDT adjacent. So that's that. we had El Desperado defeating Daisuke Sasaki via the numero dos. Thought this really solid match. These two wrestle pretty similarly to me. They both start out kind of slow. They're pretty patient in how they let their matches develop, but it did get really good towards the end. I'm frankly not the biggest fan of either. I like, and especially Sasaki, I'm not a huge fan of, but these two had pretty good chemistry towards the end, and it ended up being really good.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better Sasaki matches that I've seen in recent times. And I like the way it started off kind of respectful, and then as we got a little bit later into the match, Sasaki starts healing up, and then it got a little bit more intense. They brought to the outside with the roses and stuff like that. But there was some nice stuff in there. But just another solid match. Not quite obviously the level of the Takeshita match, I don't think. But still really good stuff.
Merv's on his phone. All right, the main event here was. He's getting his bit ready, I assume.
No, I did not. Family matters, and I hate Sasaki.
All right, fairs. After the match, they swigged tequila together. They swigged some Reposado tequila, and actually Desperado said that he's going to autograph the tequila bottles that they shared, and he's going to auction them off for proceeds that will then be donated to Takayama and Otani's recovery funds, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I like freelance Desperado. He adds a lot of gravity to big shows without feeling like he's coming in and like big leaguing people. I think he fits that really well. Chris Brooks won the KOD title for the first time in the main event here. He beat Yuji Hino following a second Praying Mantis bomb. I thought this was a great match, a worthy Sumo Hall main event. Murph posted the Shaq, I was not familiar with your game meme in response to Chris Brooks. Hino was a killer, but Brooks kept making comebacks. He kicked out of a fucking bomb, which nobody kicks out of that. No. He hit a Praying Mantis bomb. He hit Hiroshima's Somato, Kudo's high kick, and then another Praying Mantis bomb eventually put away Hino. So lots of DDT history here. Very emotional, very heartfelt victory for Chris Brooks. Even if I don't think any of us here are like the biggest Chris Brooks fans in the world, I think I could think we're probably all in agreement that super easy to get into the story here, and he completely lived up to the stage here. And
a point you always make is guys who stay in the pandemic, like through the pandemic.
Yes, I love seeing people get rewarded. Like that is so beast to me that in the face of all this uncertainty, you stayed across the world.
It was like Chris Brooks, Drew Parker, Diamante.
Chris Brooks, Drew Parker. There's like Violento Jack, Zach Sabre Jr. There's really not many. It's Diamante. Yeah. So, all right, Jamie.
Yeah, just more like more of the same. Like when you get a guy like this who, like you touched on, Parker, we're not all super convinced that he's like the perfect guy to have on the top of the card or anything. Without all the biggest fans. When they deliver in the main event, as Chris Brooks did here, and he knows well. I really like him. He was incredible, but it was all about Brooks. When they deliver in that stage, I'm like very much willing to see how the title reign plays out now. He's now you got my attention. I'm locked in. I'm willing to see what he can do with it, and we know what he's going to do next with it. So I'm very interested.
After the match, the entire roster came out and congratulated Brooks. Like it was a big babyface moment for him. Then Irie came out to be his first challenger. That match will be at Ota Ward. So Chris Brooks, Shigehiro Irie, Ota Ward main event. Not bad. There's an aftermath show at Korakuen this weekend. I definitely want to talk about the main event of this next week because anytime Takeshita's in Japan, it's a big deal. But the main event here is Konosuke Takeshita teaming with Damnation in Sasaki and Cannon against Sauna Club, Ueno Mao, and Toy Kojima. So, I mean, this match should be great just based on the talent involved and the different character motivations and everything. So we'll definitely talk about this next week, especially if it ends up being particularly notable. Any final thoughts on DDT, y'all?
Just the kind of I only really caught the end stuff, like we said, but like solid stuff from what I saw, other than the Cardona match. And I'm definitely going to check out at least the Saki Akai six-man tag. But it seemed like a pretty solid show from everything I caught.
All right, let's Is there? Do you want to do a
Can I
little
touch on
King?
something real quick?
Yeah, you want to do a little King of Gate here?
Really,
Mhm.
I don't need. You don't even need to watch King of Gate, like most of King of Gate, like if you don't want to keep up with it. But the Kota Minoura Yuki Yoshioka match from the
Yeah.
other day
Mm-hmm.
was unbelievable. Like,
I need to watch it.
What?
It's the only Dragon Gate. It's the only King of Gate match I actually haven't watched yet.
Well, you need to watch it because it
so-
was unbelievable. Like, it's
Yeah.
a must watch for any like any Japanese wrestling fan. They need to watch that match because it was tremendous.
It was the main event. It was the only singles match on the card, and it was a dual homecoming show for
Yes.
them. So a ton of drama because they're from the same area.
Yes.
So
And in
it
Dragon
was
Gate,
yeah.
homecoming shows are very important because it's
Mhm.
it's basically they give them the responsibility of having to draw the crowd. So
Yeah.
they
Well, and
it was,
they always put them in the main event, and they always have them win in the main event. So to have a dual main
Mhm.
event, two singles guys, two top stars in King of Gate going against each other, really cool
Please,
environment.
if you
Yeah,
watch
I can't wait
nothing
to
else
watch
from King
this.
of Gate, please watch that match. It was unbelievable.
There's a preview. There's going to be a preview tag. We have the final quarterfinal: Hyo versus Dragon Dia. I'm thinking
Yes.
Dragon Dia,
I think
but I could
Dia.
be wrong. I mean,
Mhm.
it could be Hyo. Hyo. They let him beat anybody. So, but then they have a preview tag with the semifinalists. It's going to be Minoura and Big Boss. No, it's going to
Yes.
be Kikuta and Big Boss. Or
Kicking
is
in
it?
Big Boss versus Fenora and
Yeah, versus Minoura and the winner of Hyo and Dia. So that'll be the main event of their next Dragon Gate Network show, I believe, after the quarterfinals. And then on August 3rd, so we'll preview the semis and finals of King of Gate next week as well, because that'll be at
and Dangerous
Korakuen.
Gate is very early this year.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up the date, but Dangerous Gate, which is their Tokyo big show, is very early this year. It's usually in the middle of September, but this year it's on August 20th. So keep your eyes to that. They're gonna start
All
building
right.
that up.
Fellas, I think it's that time of week. The time of the week where we refer to the beast of the week. Yeah. Woo. Woo. Yay. The beast of the week. Yeah. Yeah. It's that time. It's that time.
Yeah.
Jamie, as always,
Mhm.
kick us off here.
I've got a few people up there. Obviously we talk about a few different shows today. I think I'm gonna I've said that my pick. I'm gonna give my beast of the week this week to Soriano, because I absolutely loved her match, and I think, like I said, we kind of know Julia for that kind of crazy brawling on the outside style, but I think she stepped up to that in a big way, and she's someone who's still kind of new to people who only really watching Stardom. This is obviously a big, big. You're gonna get a lot of big time matches here in the 5-star. From Soriano, so people who aren't too familiar are going to get familiar real quick, and she's excellent. So I don't think she had a really great standout performance on the opening night on what was a really great show in the 5-star. So she is my beast of the week.
I want to propose that our collective one for this week is Chris Brooks, because we were talking about how he finished his story and how he just, we love that he stayed in Japan throughout the pandemic. I think that was awesome. Yeah, so we'll stick with Chris Brooks there. Me, I'm also going to go with somebody on that Stardom show. I'm going to go with somebody who I think on a night-to-night basis might be the best minute-to-minute wrestler in Stardom, and that's Shuri. Nice. She was just unbelievable. She beat the shit out of Suzu Suzuki. It was awesome. She beat her. She kicked her in the head. She Germaned her to the floor. She took a German to the floor, actually. My apologies. She's just awesome. Like, she is more of a G1 wrestler than practically anybody in the G1 now in out of the 32 guys in New Japan. So I'm gonna go Shuri. There are a lot of good choices this week, but she was the one who had me jumping out of my seat when I watched her match. So yeah.
Last week I did my pick was Christian Lundgaard, Rail Letterman Lanigan Racing, who won the Toronto Indy GP. I'm gonna go with another race car driver this week. I have to be honest with you. I gotta do it. There are multiple choices I could go with. I could go with Joseph Newgarden, won both Iowa races at the Iowa Speedway, but I'm not going to go with him. My pick for Beast of the Week, he came back into the sport this week. He made it into Q2 in a shitbox. He outqualified his teammate and then was knocked back to the last place and still made it up to outrace his teammate. My Beast of the Week is the Honey Badger from Australia, number 3, Daniel Ricciardo. Easy. Daniel Ricciardo has to be the beast of the week. I didn't want to do another race car driver, but Daniel Ricciardo had a hell of a week. And Daniel Ricciardo of AlphaTauri is my beast of the week. So, I'm going to keep the gimmick going. I won't do a race car driver next week, I promise. But this week it's
what if you did a wrestler?
That'd be cool.
We're in too deep, dude. We're in too deep.
I will say I left it to Myth, but this is the only week where I very, very nearly picked a non-wrestler, but I didn't do it. But I've very, very nearly picked Naoya Inoue, the boxer who won.
That would have actually been a good ass choice. Fuck it. He should, let's get him in there too. Right. Yeah, because I watched that goddamn boxing match. Oh my god,
he's a fucking monster.
He beat the shit out of that
guy. That was.
I mean, he's a Japanese combat sports athlete. He's almost pro.
Yeah. No, there's this wacky guy I follow on Twitter, Robert, who is a huge boxing historian guy. He's like a New York. He's a Puerto Rican guy. He's
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and he I don't know shit about boxing, but he constantly tweets about how Inoue is like the best pound for pound boxer in the world, and he's one of the best ever. And so I'm like, I gotta see this fight. I gotta see this match. And he just beats the shit, like even more than people thought was gonna happen. So that's a great choice. We'll throw him in there too.
But, I'm loving him in.
We have two non-wrestling now.
This is fine.
And Danny Rick. So we have two. So
our beasts this week are Sariano, Shuri, Chris Brooks, Naoya Inoue, and Murph. I don't even remember.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Ricciardo. Okay.
Are we lumping now? You're in as one of the collectives, I assume, but with
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Next week we're going to continue our coverage of the 5-star and the G1. We're going to have a full N1 preview as well. That kicks off not this weekend, but the following weekend.
King of Gate finals too, right?
King of Gate finals. And then here, why don't I just take a little look-see while I'm looking and see what else is up. Oh yeah, and we'll also we'll have a pretty decent. We'll be able to preview essentially the block finals of all the G1 shows. So that's exciting. Really looking forward to that. It's great. It's a great time to be a Japanese pro wrestling fan. So if you thank you so much for your super chats. Thank you so much for being here and watching. We love talking about wrestling for you guys, and we're gonna keep on doing this. And, I think we've got all three of us for like the next month or so.
And a personal goal for me is when there's the pro slows down a little bit, I do want to do a CMLL Super Virenase review on the show. So
I watch it like every other week. I just don't really talk about it that much.
Let's get to it.
This week is actually a good week to watch it because they're doing Rocky versus Mascara Dorado 2.0 the singles match. Because they were the final two in La Enda de Plata this past week. So, all right. Thank you all so much for watching. We will catch you this time next week. Stay dumb.
Peace.